All right, what's up, everybody? We are on season 4, episode 24 of Attack on Titan. Just 5 more to go. And guys, I wanted to really quickly start us off, seeing as we're getting so close to the finale, by letting you all quickly know what the plan is for me as soon as we wrap up, season 4, part 2. So I actually had all of my patrons vote on what the next show would be. For that, it seems like we have a winner now, and it is actually going to be Death Note, which I know has been a much requested show for me to get into, because it's also apparently very story driven and something that a lot of the people who've been enjoying my Attack on Titan reactions have been requesting me to react to as well. So I can't wait to get started on that as soon as we wrap this up. Of course, we will also be doing a rewatch for the series right after, so that's something to be looking forward to. So if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do so. Hit the notification bell while you're at it, of course. Because that way, not only will you be able to, continue with me on a couple of new journeys that we're going to be going on, in the foreseeable future, but at the same time, of course, when part 3 finally hits, hopefully very quickly next year, right? Yeah, then you'll be able to watch my reaction to it as soon as we kick off with it. I already can't wait for it. But yeah, 5 episodes to go. It's just kind of crazy to think about, knowing how long we've been on this ride already, right? Ever since September last year, so go figure. The episode that we're going to get into is called Pride. I don't have like a lot to say about, the recent episode or something, because it was like quite a lot happened. It focused on a lot of different characters, but at the same time, it's super hard to tell where it's all going to go for me. Of course, Annie is finally back into the picture, right? And she took off with Hitch, and Annie kind of talked about her backstory, which was cool to finally learn about. At the same time, I don't quite understand what their goal is or what they're planning to do here, where they're even going to, right? Like, at first, I'd kind of assumed, like, oh, they're trying to... I mean, that still might be what they're doing, right? They're actually trying to get back all the way to Marley or something, to warn, for example, Annie's dad, who she talks about, right? Like, that's who she's doing everything for. They've now seen that the rumbling is, of course, happening. We learned that that's, I kind of figured that initially, I kind of figured that if the rumbling happened, everything would be over rather quickly. But it's not really like that, because, of course, all these colossal titans, they're huge and colossal. So they actually have to, like, travel this huge distance and basically trample everything in their path. So that delays the whole process quite a bit. Yeah, and it simply means that people apparently still do have some time here to maybe put a stop to it, or to, again, warn people so they can get out in time. I already speculated about, for example, the Hizuru clan, who, of course, we learned in part 1 of the season that they were working on these, like, flying boats. So I'm sure they'll be fine. But it's especially the Eldian people, of course, in Marley that will have a big problem. And, well, that includes, of course, all the other Marlians and whatever other countries that you still have. Because apparently... yeah, that's also something people told me about. Marley is just one nation, and I think it actually spans much more than that. And it is basically a whole world that we're talking about here, full of... actually, I mean, this is not just something I've been told. We've literally seen Marley, of course, go at war with all these other nations and stuff, right? But yeah, I mean, again, like, I'm curious to find out where that's all gonna go. I mean, speaking of Annie there, yeah, the last thing that we kind of, I think, saw Annie and Hitch basically witnessed themselves is that they saw some airships leaving already, right? So I'm not sure if those are like the only airships that are literally there. And so they don't have a chance to escape now anymore or something, but it's those people that will start to warn the rest or something. What's going to happen there, right? At the same time, there's this huge... yeah, I don't know. To me, it still seems like it's a bigger deal than maybe the show is making it out to be or something, but that's only because I find the storyline to be so vaguely out of place or something, if that makes sense, where Connie is trying to rescue his mom. Like, that, don't get me wrong, the motivation that Connie has to be like, because that's something actually that I got some extra input about that made, like, sense. Connie basically figures that now that the rest of the world will be destroyed anyway, that there's no real need anymore for Titans to be present or to be used, like the special Titans or something. So rescuing his mom is just a way to... to basically sacrifice this one person who he doesn't care as much about, Falco, for somebody who he does actually care about, right? His mom. But then at the same time, again, the scene in itself, there has to be more to it. That's just the impression that I get from it. And so that's why I'm eager to see where that's going to go. We delved into I think actually Armin, Armin and Mikasa had this conversation, right, where Armin seemed very stressed on the whole situation. He's trying to go after Connie as well, so that's why that's all gonna come together eventually, I assume. Because he figures they will need Falco alive, because otherwise Gabby would be mad, and if Gabby is mad, that means that Rhino won't be on their side, and so this is kind of like the struggle that he talked about. It became very clear, again, this is one of those things that I talked about, I feel, last episode, that, how should I put this? The rumbling isn't going to stop everything, right? The hate will continue to persist, and there's just going to be conflict literally now within Paradise Island, basically, among factions, and for example, the people who are very upset about, the fact that some of their houses and literal family and stuff were trampled, right? Eren made more victims than he probably foresaw or something with it. So, again, like I'm just fascinated to see where it goes. There's still maybe one quick scene to touch on because I'm just kind of like scrolling through the last episode, catching up on it just now. But that was that scene with the why do I forget his name now? Flock, of course. God damn it. Flock, where he was trying to, or he was telling Jean how he now had his freedom, right? And Jean is like, well, this is not the way you secure freedom, by literally forcing it on me or something, right? Or like, this is not the way I foresaw achieving that freedom that I wanted for myself. And so, I'm just super curious to dive in and to see where it goes from here. At the same time, like I said, it's very hard to tell what direction everything is heading into. So I'm excited to find out. Of course, guys, if you enjoy my reactions, the next 8 episodes will already be up over on Patreon. Of course, there aren't 8 episodes left anymore for part 2, so it means you can actually finish the entire ride with me over there, as well as start watching the first couple of episodes of the Attack on Titan rewatch that we're going to be doing over there. I think we should be like 4 episodes on the way now, so go check that out. Your support is, of course, very much appreciated, along with OVA reactions and full-length reactions will be up there as well, linked on top of the description, of course. And then for now, let's dive into this new episode of Attack on Titan. Okay, what are we getting into now? Who are these guys? Was this Hanji? I almost forgot to... Well, I think I forgot to mention in the intro that, of course, we saw Hanji and Levi show up again. Ah, okay. Right, they were pursued by some of the military. Yeah, I got bad news for you there as well. That list is smaller too. Yeah, this pig is back to how stressful she already felt in part 1. Oh, of course, and now they get to see this too. Yeah, that's what we saw. Yeah, interesting why they would go to Peak then and Maggot, right? Ah, I see. But do they realize now that Zeke and Eren are not on the same team anymore? I guess so, it must be, because they see the rumbling happening. Well, I'm not sure in all honesty, because did they even know what their original plan was? Okay, so they do know. Right, how do you ever want to take that founding titan down? What, so it's gonna be everything versus the Founding Titan now, or? Man. Everybody's just sad all around.
母さんにファルコを食わせるにはどうすればいいやっぱり力ずくか怪我でもさせて巨人の力があることがバレたらおしまい
Oh, yeah. Oh, so, right. So he doesn't know that he's a Titan.
何かいい方法
But the moment he does, he can just turn into it, of course.
俺のことを
Yeah, and Falco talked about remembering him for some reason.
サシャお前なら分かってくれるか病院に行くんじゃなかったんですか
Okay, well,
どうして入
they've arrived.
ああ面白いものがあるから見てもらおうかと思ってここラコ村
Did he put this over it?
どうして
Oh, shit.
昨晩あなたの独り言が聞こえてきました
You gonna see her now? Oh my god, what a sight.
動けないから安心しろもう何年もこのままなんだ
Like, I'm not really worried for Falco, though. I doubt it's gonna happen.
どうするつもりですか
But yeah, how does Connie even want to do this now, then? Well, it's time to reveal your agenda.
巨人の歯磨きを手伝って
Ah, okay, I see.
こんな貴重な体験めったにないぞあの上からガシガシやるだけだ
Oh
あ
no.
そこまで登ってみて考えようぜなあいいだろ
That look in his eyes should say enough to him. Oh shit.
来るなお前らが離れ
Oh man.
うるせえ聞きたくねえ何も言うなお前には分からねえよ
Yeah, they can just tell him he's a Titan now.
アギトの力ガリアードさんは
Oh, he's climbing up already.
コニーを許してくれ来るなっつったろうが
What is he gonna do? He's not gonna sacrifice himself, is he? No, 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 no. Fuck this. This isn't happening.
か言えよアルビーさっき喋るなって言っただろだから
Ah, this is totally in line though with everything he said before about how he regretted. Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, that would have been very... All of this happened so abruptly to me.
どうするつもりだったんだ君のお母さんが超大型巨人を継承してなそうなりゃ母ちゃんを苦しめるって考えりゃわかることなのにアルミ俺は母ちゃんに誇れる兵士になりたいだから困ってる人を助けに行こう探した嬉しいです
Oh.
探してくれたんですかそれとも
She had the scarf.
このマフラーをあなたが持っていると思ったでも
I was gonna say, did she do it to like lure her?
エレン・イエーガーの作る自由な世界を見ることができなくてイエーガーさんと話したことがありますあなたのことで
Okay.
このマフラーは捨ててほしいとでも捨てるくらいだったらこのまま私と返して
Wait, so he told her to throw the scarf out?
ません
That's not a good sign. I get. It's still kind of like. The question is still where Eren stands compared to Mikasa and Armin. This guy. Round of applause. I'm sure she's very eager to.
興味ない
ジャンはすっかりその気らしいがな
Did he though? Doesn't look like it. Oh man, I hate seeing this line used for the wrong by the wrong people. But to represent something differently. I preferred when Erwin used to say it.
全ての硬質化が解かれたのなら兄が復活した可能性も兄
Is she there? What? What is she doing here?
ごめん、並ぶのに時間かかってっていないし ヒッチ
Oh, left a note.
偶然アルミン・コニーと会い行動を止め
This is all happening so fast, man.
迷惑をかけた
Okay, what is that?
陰湿なルーム
How could Armin and Connie just like so quickly say, oh yeah, hey Annie, what's up? Something happened. I don't get it. What the fuck? Oh no.
マーレに反旗を翻し、エルディア帝国を支援した真の狙いは、始祖の力をジークのものとし、安楽死計画なるエルディア人の完全なる殲滅を実現させることにあった。
The actual noble plan. I'm probably gonna piss some people off by saying that. Oh man.
最後に言いたいことは。
まだ撃たないの
Oh, these guys, you got, yeah.
罪人はおにゃんこぽ。エルディア帝国に従って生きるくらいなら死を選ぶと吐き捨てた。気が変わったのなら今のうちに。
それはあんたたちのためでもあった。そして力を貸した結
Yeah.
果、お前らにこびてまで生きるほどの価値はない。突然無差別に殺されること
Good
が
on him, man.
どれほど理不尽なことか知ってるはずだろう。黙ってないでなんとか言えよ。じゃん。
Yeah, Sean. No, don't let him be the one. Oh my god, man. What the fuck? But I assume Sean is just like, oh. I thought he was basically forced now to go along with them.
しまった。外した。お前、何のつもりだ
Oh shit. What? I mean, I don't think she actually aged Sean, because she actually she used to be able to carry Zeke or Reiner, I think it was Reiner or Zeke with her, right?
今なら砦の反対側に注意がいってるはずだ
What the hell? How do they have this plan set up now with Peak as well? Who was working together with Hanji then and Levi, I assume. This is crazy.
車力は何ヶ月も巨人になったままでいられるんでしょ歯磨きとかしない
Of course you would ask these questions, being so obsessed with them.
いつの間に家がにいれば
Yeah, he could have just gone along. That's actually what I thought he was doing.
あのまま耳を塞いで部屋にこもっていたかった。でも、それじゃあ骨の燃えかすが俺を許してくれねえんだよ。
なんで私まで
君を確保することが車力の力を借りる条件だったんだ。生きたまま引き渡せって。
Okay. Oh, is okay.
兄
Reunited.
安心してください。みんな味方です。時間がねえ。早く行くぞ。
どこに
世界を救いに。
Who would have thought we were all allies again? Awesome. So the only thing I'm like really confused by right now, and I literally like I watched through these scenes a couple of times still right now after having seen the episode, but like what was the actual plan there? So the Jaegerists were about to have Onyan Capone, right, and Yelena executed there. Jean was apparently supposed to kill one of them there, right? But he fired 4 shots and missed, which was a little bit weird and very telling that like he didn't want to do this, right? 4 shots was apparently the sign for them to continue with their plan. Then at the same time, of course, right after he did that, we had Peak literally show up in that moment. But Peak, she was not, as far as I know, she was not in contact with all these other guys though, right? And like, so was that not part of the plan? But if that was not part of the plan, then how was him shooting 4 times? Again, like I don't know how it all comes together there, in all honesty. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably get some input about that and get that cleared up. Yeah, other than that, I mean, this was a great episode. Kind of showed, like, it shows the state of, still very much focuses, I guess, on like what the state right now is of Paradise Island, right? Where essentially right now you just have, all the people on there. We're kind of seeing the aftermath of course, the consequences of the rumbling happening now all around the world. All these titans are like heading to these places, right? And in the meantime, the people on here are just kind of waiting for that to happen and dealing with all the traitors that they were still dealing with, right? So like for the Jaegerists, of course, that means the volunteers, Yelena and Onyan Capone or whatever, and the people that work together with Zeke, because that's the plan that they hated, and they never wanted that euthanization plan to happen. Because it was basically, it would mark the end of the Eldians, right? And so now we get to the situation where like you can totally see what's happening, where basically, these guys have now claimed Paradise Island and are getting rid of anyone still in the way at the moment that don't share the same goals and ideas, right? And so it's kind of, I mean, again, it's super hard to tell then at the same time. Like, for one, it's super hilarious how now suddenly all our favorite guys from the first season, basically, right, who've been there from the start, they're all teaming back up again to put a stop to this, whatever that means, right? To save the world is what it was literally worded at the end there. And so, Annie is back. They're getting Reiner on their side now. Gabby is there, of course, too. She's a new character still from the most recent season now, right? But still, like, it's kind of bittersweet, or I don't know what the right word would be, but to see that happening. But then at the same time, I ask myself, like, okay, what do they want to do though? How could they possibly put a stop to the rumbling? Is that, first of all, are they even like, I assume that's what they're planning to do, right? To put a stop to the rumbling. But then I still question, okay, you want to put a stop to the rumbling, but like, what else are you gonna do? Like, how are we gonna save the world? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it anymore, man. It's like, this is one of those times in the show again where I'm just losing overview completely. And I hate to admit it, and it's so crazy because we have 4 episodes left of part 2. Part 3 isn't going to be all that long from what I'm gathering from people. Like, it won't be all that long because there aren't that many chapters in the manga left afterwards, right? After we're done with part 2. So all of this is going to get wrapped up in some type of way still, right? And again, like, I still then question, where does Eren stand in all of this, right? And so obviously Eren Eren is his own team, is the way I see it still, right? I don't even know necessarily if these Jaegerists, even though of course they are Jaegerists, they're literally called that, so they are Team Eren, I don't even fully know if Eren is still on their side, if that makes sense. I don't know, I've kind of, again, I think it's just because I speculated last episode with the way Flock was talking and everything, that like Eren might have just been using him for his own purpose, but well, I don't know. I mean, they do, I guess, Eren does just care about preserving all the Eldians on Paradise Island, right? And that's basically the same, I mean, that is still the same way that the Jaegerists feel about everything then too. So I guess they are still the same team. It's like, I don't know. It's, again, maybe that's just me getting ahead of myself thinking that he was betraying them, but no, they are still very much the same team. So now we have, yeah, basically our favorite Eldians, to call it that way, right? Like the characters that I just talked about, they're all teaming up and they're going to try and put a stop to it. Again, the question that I still then have is like, okay, how do you even plan on doing this? And I mean, you know, again, like you'll still have all these enemies in the rest of the world, right? Nothing is going to change about the situation. So it's not a definitive solution to the problem either, right? Like this is the problem. You had either the rumbling or the euthanization plan, and both were actual definitive solutions to the problem. Does that make sense? Like, these are ways that you could have just solved your situation somewhat. Well, the rumbling actually is the least definitive of them, because you're just narrowing essentially all the, you know, people that you're dealing with in the whole world. But as we already talked about, it means that the people on Paradise Island will start having conflict with themselves too, and like naturally that's not going to put a stop to it either, I guess, right? So really, again, I look at the euthanization plan as to being like, well, the only thing that would at least have somewhat solved the situation. Then again, I ask myself the question, and I go back and forth again, would it even have? Because yes, it would have gotten rid of all the Eldians, but you'd still have all these other nations fighting with each other. So I guess, yeah, thinking about it now, it's like nothing will ever put a stop to everything, right? I mean, that's the thing. Humanity, maybe this is going really deep right now, but like, look at our own world, right? We have wars going on all the time between certain nations, and that's never going to stop. At the end of the day, it's just like, yeah, for some reason, it's all about survival in the end, right? Like, the human species is just born to survive as long as possible. But you can ask yourself those questions. Yeah, again, I'm sorry, guys, if I'm going really sort of deep, and if these aren't maybe the most pleasant conversations to have, but like then you start asking yourself the question, like, right? But you start asking yourself the question, like, for what? Does that make sense? Like, why are we even doing all of this, right? And why are we even born to survive? What's the point if we're gonna die anyway? It's insane how the show has gotten to the point where it's making me ask these kinds of things to myself right now. But all very, of course, valid questions that simply belong to life, and that you're gonna eventually think about. It's just like, I don't often find like occasions where it warrants for me to think about these kinds of things, but now suddenly it does, right? And then it's like, holy shit, yeah, I didn't even realize you had all these questions that you could really like ask yourself about. I'm not that huge into like philosophy or whatever it's called, right? Or just like you know, basically meandering about all kinds of human existence type of questions. That's not something that I do often, but this show suddenly is spawning it within me again, and like, so fantastic, you know. It's yeah, I don't know what to say about it. Let's see, maybe one thing that I can still talk about, and I just love the scene, actually. I was wondering all this time where they were going to go with the whole Connie and his mom scene, right? Like, what was that about, him trying to rescue his mom and stuff? Well, I mean, it was just very much a personal motivation, and that's what it was going to lead to. But the way that they then sort of resolved it by having Armin literally there, willing to sacrifice himself, again, it made so much sense with all the conversations he was having before, where he literally admitted to himself, or to Mikasa, I forgot exactly what it was, but he said it should have been Erwin who they had kept alive, right? And it's like, now he was literally willing there to just sacrifice himself so that Connie would be happy, and that Falco wouldn't get sacrificed for it. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. The way that all these scenes come together, it's like I couldn't have pictured it before. I don't know, I wonder like how many people are actually able to sort of predict these things, because I always feel that I have all these like puzzle pieces, and I'm very good, I feel, at like separating them and then sort of like mentioning all the ones that we currently have, but actually the task of putting them together, for some reason, like that's, I mean, it's natural, of course, that is the biggest struggle of them all, but yeah, I always find myself still surprised there when the scenes then finally play out, and you actually see how it all connects, and it's so great. It's once again, I absolutely love this episode. Yeah, and I'm gonna dive into one more, as honestly, as fast as these things go by, and as much as they make my brain absolutely overheat or something here in a moment, I told myself I was gonna do 2 here back to back, so I'm gonna do 1 more. For now, guys, I hope you all enjoyed my reaction to it. Of course, if you already want to watch and finish the rest of Season 4 Part 2 with me, you can do so right now on Patreon. Linked on top of the description, of course. Over there, we also have OVA reactions, full-length reactions if you want to watch the entire episodes along with me. But then for now, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.